think we just answered our question. Listen to this.
Well,
It's frozen.
it's
Solid.
frozen, solid.
Solid.
Yep, it's just ice. So today we are just heading out to do chores, and I'm heading out with Dylan today. He's been here for the last 3 days, and we've been doing some major cleaning. It's been a crazy 3 days, so yeah, we're up bright and early, getting the chores done, and then we're gonna run another load into town here in a bit. And so anyway, we had our first major freeze the other day, and it's cold now.
Very cold.
So I have to say the garden's probably about done. I had a bunch of green tomatoes.
Yeah, they're not looking too hot.
Nope, they're not. Anyway, there is just a ton of them out there. I picked a bunch of green ones, and I went through and I tried to pick all the red ones that I could find the other day. We were hurrying up and picking them before it got dark out because it was supposed to freeze that night. And so I'm going to can up the red ones that I picked, and then the green ones I'm going to put them over in my mom's and see if they'll ripen over the next couple months. So anyway, we are going to get chores done, and then we are going to go haul off the stuff, and I will give you a peek inside of the shop and show you what all we've been doing the last 3 days. Well, we got our chores done. I'll tell you what, we were not dressed for this kind of weather for sure.
It's flat miserable.
What's the temperature?
It says it was 18 on my
18 degrees. So, I think the cold weather's finally here, unfortunately. We are getting ready to haul in our, hopefully our last load of metal. That right there is one of 3 or 4 loads that we've hauled in so far. And then on top of that, we've hauled in a bunch of trash. Well, and here is our shop. And it still doesn't look very clean. We just spent, 3 days cleaning in here, and you can hardly tell it, but it looks 100% better compared to what it was. Now all we have to do is just reorganize, basically, and we're wanting to set it up a little differently. We had stuff in here from my grandpa, and he was a mechanic, and he also farmed. And so he fixed a lot of his own vehicles and probably vehicles of others, plus all of his equipment and all of that. Well, he was a keeper. He didn't throw anything away. And so there was boxes upon boxes upon boxes of parts and just odds and end things. Like if he replaced a part, for example, he would put the used part back, pack it back exactly as the new part came back in the original box, and then he would label it as used and not good, and then he would throw it in a box. And then in that box would be a whole bunch of other parts that he had taken off and replaced. And then he would carefully box them all up, and then he would tie them with twine. And everything was perfectly tied and perfectly set on the shelf. So we went through all of that stuff, and we got all those parts out, a lot of metal and all that, and took them out of the packages. And it took forever, but we got it all done. But anyway, on top of that was a lot of my dad's stuff too. There was a lot of parts from tractors and just odds and ends from farming and all of that. And so we kept what we would use, and we threw out the rest that we didn't need. And then we went through our stuff, and when we downsized that, and so now we are to this right here, and basically we just need to move shelves around and figure out where we want to put things and all of that. But all of those shelves over there are empty, so we can reorganize our stuff. And it'll be really nice once we get it all finished, won't it?
It will. Can't wait to use it.
Yeah. Well, we are here at the metal recycler, and we managed to get half of our load unloaded because the crane operator was busy, and now he's come over to unload the rest of it. And I was like, thank goodness, because I didn't want to have to lift any more of that metal out. so now we are done and heading home with at least our last load for now, right?
For now.
Still got more to haul off later, but for the most part we got everything done. And we added up everything we've hauled off, and can you believe that we have hauled off a little over 6,000 pounds of stuff in 3 days. That's 3 tons of stuff.
Pretty good.
Yeah, between the trash and the metal. So, all within that little bitty shop, too. Feels good to have that done and out of the way now. So we made it home, and now I've got to do something with all these tomatoes that we picked the other day. I'm going to sort out all the red ones and keep them in here, and then I'm going to take the green ones over to my mom's house, and I'm going to lay them out on a table in one of the bedrooms that she has. So before we go set up the table in my mom's bedroom, we decided to come out here to the garden and see if there were any more green tomatoes worth picking. It got plenty cold last night, so I don't know if they'll be any good or not. So, what do you think?
This one's got juice dripping out of it.
Yeah, it got froze, unfortunately.
This feels really hard, like it is frozen on the inside. These were laying on the ground though, so maybe one's up higher.
There is just like a boatload of tomatoes. It almost makes me sick how many tomatoes there are.
I think we just answered our question. Listen to this.
Well,
It's frozen.
it's
Solid.
frozen, solid.
Solid.
Yep, it's just ice.
Yeah.
Wow.
You think that would de-thaw and be fine, or is it just bad?
I think it will go to mush.
Good mash.
Yep.
So we're done here.
Yeah, unfortunately, unless we can go through and find some red ones. I've got a plan. I know what we can do. We can save the red ones. What we can do is go get a couple of Ziploc bags and pick all the red ones and then go ahead and throw them in the freezer. And then I can still can those later. So far we found about that many red ones. We're still searching. Look at this, it just makes me sick. Look at the size of these tomatoes. So nice. There is just tons and tons of them. If only we could have had just one more month to let all these tomatoes ripen. Oh well, I guess at least the chickens will enjoy it because I'm going to turn them loose in the garden now. Okay, so we got a big basket full. And we keep finding more, but Dylan told me to close our eyes and just keep going. So that's what we're doing. Okay. So we're just going to leave them in the basket just like that and put them in the freezer. And I will get them canned up in a couple of days. Okay, so we got all of our green tomatoes laid out on the table on newspapers. And then we're going to cover them with a single layer of newspaper. Just like that. It'll be interesting to see how long we keep having fresh tomatoes.
Or they'll probably just all go bad, and then when you ripen, they just rot.
Oh, I hope not.